At least 2 people were killed, as well as an armed attacker in a shootout in Auckland, New Zealand's largest city, early Thursday. The violence came hours before the city was due to host the opening match of the Women's Soccer World Cup. Police say the gunman arrived at a construction site with a pump-action shotgun and moved through it floor to floor, firing as he went. When he reached the upper levels, he contained himself within an elevator shaft. Further shots were fired, and he was later found dead. A witness described panic as the events unfolded.
We were right at the entrance, and I saw like 20 people rushing out of the building and telling the pedestrians to move. I was like, what happened? And I go ask them. They say like, we saw a guy with a shotgun in his hand and he was aiming for people.
Local TV news captured the moment an injured police officer was escorted onto an ambulance. He's among a number of people who were wounded in the incident. The shooting took place near hotels where soccer teams are staying for the FIFA Women's World Cup tournament, which kicks off Thursday evening at Eden Park. New Zealand Prime Minister Chris Hipkins said there'll be increased police presence. However, he ruled out cancelling the matches altogether.
I want to reiterate that there is no wider national security threat. This appears to be the actions of one individual. Aucklanders and those watching around the world can be assured that the police have neutralised the threat and that they are not seeking anybody else in relation to the incident.
He added police haven't been able to identify any ideological or political reasons for the shooter's actions. Gun violence is rare in New Zealand. The country saw its worst peacetime mass shooting in 2019 when a shooter, a suspected white supremacist, killed 51 Muslim worshippers in Christchurch. The government responded then with swift gun reform. All military-style semi-automatics were banned, and a gun registry was launched last month.
And there they go. It looks like
The US and Russia are dangerously close to an armed conflict. This year, 2023, New Delhi will be the capital of global diplomacy. For a country as diverse as ours, with 88% of the population illiterate, it was a very big deal to write a constitution, and that too, the world's largest. Meanwhile, if we may, here's a Republic Day gift from India for the BBC. A list of suggestions for the BBC for their upcoming documentaries. Number 1. The Kohinoor and the Colonial Loot. Number 2, an outdated monarchy and unhealthy obsession with the royals. Number 3, racism in 2023. We're waiting. Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. The UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony.